The time is 6:33. So I call this work session of the mayor and council for the city of Snellville, Georgia, Monday, December 10th, 2017 to order. First, we'll go through and review the regular business meeting. Got the invocation by Melvin Everson. Pledge is Bobby Nice. He's with the Boy Scout Troop 548.
I believe you also have ROTC posting colors tonight too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We think we were just delayed opening tomorrow, so I'm not sure if everybody's coming out tonight.
Okay.
So we're fine.
Okay.
She said they can post
Yeah,
colors
they're
and then
not
Bobby
the
can
pledge.
do the lead the
Right.
pledge.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
not. They're just gonna do the.
Okey-doke. And then we've got the presentation of the Volunteer of the Year Award for the Snellville Senior Center. Minutes, got Nick Messina with Partnership Gwinnett's gonna give us a little update. And then under the public hearing, we have just time for a public comment on the draft comprehensive plan. Is Jim Somerville gonna be here for that?
He's gonna have a small presentation.
Okay. And then, first item under new business is just council approving, transmitting the draft down to the ARC, or the Department of Community Affairs. And then we have the stat contract. So if we could talk about that for a moment. You all had the contract in your packet. And it's essentially the same as last year, except for the funding amount. In the prior years, we've been doing 100% funding to STAT. We've had several meetings with Explore Gwinnett, who is Gwinnett's Convention and Visitors Bureau. The city hasn't participated with them since 2010, since we started STAT. They have revamped their organization and what they do, and the types of promotions that they do for cities, and have gotten a lot more local promotion going. So we've had meetings with Lisa Anders, who's the executive director of Explore Gwinnett. Dave was here for a meeting. We met with Kelly with STAT, and so we want to get back in with Explore Gwinnett starting in January. That will allow us to get more city promotion. It'll help drive a lot more activity to our events. We'll get better coverage of our events across the county and also outwards.
We will get coverage.
Yes.
Yeah,
There you
not
go.
We have
better,
none now.
because we've had.
Well-
It'll be better than nothing, because that's what we got now.
Right, well, I mean, aside from what we do.
Right.
You know, through STAT organization, so it'll help get that out there a little bit more. And with the Hampton Inn coming in, I think it'll be a good opportunity, good time for us to do this. So Butch and I also kind of had a side conversation too, that because there will be added revenue coming in with the Hampton Inn opening, and we'd like to be able to hold back just a little bit of funds from the hotel motel tax for the city to use for promotion of the town center as it comes online, potentially new signage and things like that to help with those kinds of things. So in kicking around some numbers, the way it works with this Explore Gwinnett, it's an 8 penny tax on the hotel rooms, and they would take 2 of the pennies, so that's 25%. In looking at some projections, going very conservative on projections of what we would pull in with hotel motel tax with the Hampton Inn opening, the total would be conservatively around $350,000. So I was just thinking 25%, of course, would go to Explore Gwinnett. That's about $89,000. If the city did about a 10% holdback, for our use would be about 35,000, and then that would leave 65% of those funds to go to stat, which would be 233,000 conservatively, which is about $55,000 increase over what they're getting right now. And then we can work with stat and their budgeting and how they would use those excess funds. The other change in the contract, there was a change on the magazine amount to 35,000, which is a little increase over what we've been doing in the
It
past.
pays for a portion of the extra issue that comes out in January. So there's not such a long gap between the Christmas lighting and the springtime issue. So.
Okay.
One thing I'd love to see us explore with stat, and I just think we need some paid help with events. I just think we're running some of our volunteers into the ground. And I just think, I don't know if we could perhaps pay some public works employees, if some of them might have any interest in doing that type of thing, or maybe some of our parks staff, I don't know, I mean, but I just think we're running some of our volunteers into the ground with what we're demanding of them. And I think it's getting really hard on some of them.
Mhm.
So I would just like us to explore that as something to do with some of that funding.
This is definitely an
agree.
agenda item for our planning
Yes.
retreat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
We've
one of
spoken
mine
about
I
that in the
added.
past.
Yeah, I know we
Long been
have,
time
but
to
it's
retreat.
we've got to really start looking at it.
For sure.
Okay.
We might have some out-of-work attorneys, you never know.
He's like all the other volunteers. He wears out pretty quick.
Retired.
Oh, yeah.
So anybody have any other questions or concerns with the stat contract?
With the revenues going up on this tax,
Mm-hmm.
when will we look at lowering the tax? Or is that even any interest in that, in the motel tax?
I would say, we give it this year and see what's going on, and then look at it at the end of the year.
Okay.
Is there an open date for the hotel yet or no?
I talked to Ronnie DeThomas today, and it sounds like they're, he's sitting right there. January?
No, we're gonna open December 20th.
December.
Oh,
December 20th.
last day of
Wow.
school.
That's soon.
That's our goal. And we think we'll be fine. We
10
got
days.
our PO today from Jason, and so that triggers Hilton and their process and procedure to get us open. And we still got a lot of punch items and a lot of cleanup, but we're shooting for December 20th. We believe we'll make that date. Get everybody in here for Christmas.
Okay.
And let me say, I pray that you get $350,000 from us on hotel.
No, that wasn't me, just
Oh,
you,
no.
that was total. That was a total number.
He was still.
We're getting 178 now. Our conservative number is 65% occupancy.
We'll see. We don't know.
No, we don't. That's right.
Yeah, no.
And that's one thing that Explore Gwinnett, they were good to work with because they said, nobody knows. So we'll give you that first quarter
Right.
and see where the numbers go to. So
We had a long
They've been
meeting
very
about
good.
that, and we're very excited about the opportunity, but it's because there's not there's not just a flux of office, and there's no interstate, but we do believe that we're gonna pull from about a 10 or 12 mile radius, especially going back toward the Walton, Walnut Grove,
Walton.
Monroe, that type
Right.
area.
Mhm.
So, we're excited about getting all the business that is available for this type of product.
Okay. Cool. All right. So we'll approve the stat contract tonight unless anybody's got any other concerns. How should we put this in on the funding?
The only caveat I have for it is that it be subject to our review. But I would do it as percentages like you just did it.
Okay.
That's the perfect mechanism, and we will edit it from cash numbers to percentages, just like the motion's made.
And the mayor's formulation fits. then.
It fits, it's perfect, yeah, percentages are the way to do it, because you don't know what the numbers are actually gonna be.
Okay.
So,
So do we need to go through all of those percentages in the motion?
It's,
Is
yes,
that what
it's
you're saying?
25%
Okay.
to explore.
Well,
the-
wait, but this is just the contract with Stat. So,
Is it just a
so we would
generic-
just say 65% of the hotel motel
I think
tax.
that's good too,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, Dave, you got that? or-
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. And then, is there anything else on the regular business meeting that anyone would like to talk about? All right, we'll switch over to our work session agenda. Any correspondence? Butch?
No, ma'am.
One matter for executive session, a litigation matter.
Okay, alcohol sales in hotels. Who wants to start?
Well, hey, I guess we'll let Ronnie talk about his request for for the new hotel.
Thank you, guys. What we would like to be able to do is just provide beer and wine to our guests. I no desire to sell liquor. We will not be serving the beer or the wine. It will be more of we'll have one bottle of red, one bottle of white. You may have one or two kinds of beer in the sweet shop, so that if the moms and dads and they're here on the weekends with their children and they're going to the soccer game and they went to Outback and had dinner and they want to come back and have a glass of wine or beer, we want to have that as an option. Most of the Hampton Inns in this market have that availability. I won't tell you all of them. I've been in several that did. I know Dunwoody has it. Some of the ones in Gwinnett have them, but it's not a large percentage. It's just to be able to have a drink for dad or a drink for mom. And again, we will not be serving the drinks. They would be consuming them on site, either in the breakfast area or they would be consuming them in their room. So, however that we need to do, or what we need to process, we need to go through, that would be our request to be able to do that. Won't be in a vending machine, won't be in a cooler, won't be anything of that nature.
Okay.
You're just gonna put them in the rooms?
No, sir.
On their request?
No, sir. They would be in the sweet shop, so they would
Oh,
physically
they have to
come
come
down.
in.
Yes, sir, they would have to come down. We're not gonna have vending machines, on every floor. We're gonna have, if you wanna heat up soup, or if you wanna get a candy bar, if you want popcorn or whatever. We'll have refrigerators and, microwaves in every room, but you would physically have to come downstairs and purchase those items at the front desk and then take them back to your room.
Okay. And Jason, you want to talk about what our ordinance allows?
Yeah,
The
we
current
really
time?
don't have an option right now as far as hotels. The way our ordinance is crafted is deal with more like hotel bars, places that are gonna be serving and not really just distributing. So, in order to move forward with Ronnie's request, if it's perceived as positive, then we would have to change the ordinance a little bit to allow for it. So, I mean, we don't have any heartburn over the procedure. We just don't have anything in place that can handle it appropriately right now.
If there's nothing in place, why couldn't he just do it? I'm just curious from,
Because it's packaged sales of alcohol,
Right.
and you gotta have a license.
oh, so you gotta pay the city money, basically.
Well, the state.
State.
Or the state.
Mhm.
We actually
So
have to
would
have
it
a
be
liquor
con-
license, and the employees have to go through the process and be fingerprinted
Okay.
and ID and all, just like anybody else that would be selling packaged liquor. Even though it's a small scale, still the same process.
Well, I'm okay with it. I think the more the better. I'd be like for all of that stuff, but I don't know if everybody would be.
Yeah, I think we should proceed with crafting the ordinance that we need.
Okay, well, let's figure out what we need for the wording so that we can keep it zeroed in on where we want it to happen.
This is, timing wise, this isn't gonna
Yes, sir.
affect your open. If this gets done in January, you're good.
Yes, it gets done whenever. We would like to offer it to our guests. It's not pressure, there's no, we like to have it as soon as we can, but there's no sense of urgency or pressure. We just, if what Hampton does is, a lady came in off the street the other day and very, very nice and lives in Snellville, been watching the hotel for 8 months go up, and she's talking about, family coming in for Christmas, and she tells you exactly what she expects, and it's exactly what the brand standard has. So, she's telling me what my sheets look like and what my duvets look like and what food I'm gonna have, and she's right, because she travels and she knows exactly what's expected. So when consumers come in, we just wanna have exactly what's expected. If dad or mom's used to being able to go down there and get a drink, we wanna offer exactly what they're used to, so.
Cool.
Yep.
Sounds
I
good.
don't know if you got soccer people in here, you need the hard stuff too.
Well, there's Outback for that.
That's what we thought.
Yeah, that's convenient location.
Well, it's gonna be great to have such a nice
Really
hotel
is.
here. We need to make it as full service
Yeah.
as possible.
Well, we are gonna offer, to the side of the hotel, we've got, obviously that's our another out parcel for development, but we've grassed that area and made it a pretty
Yeah.
big, flat area, and so we're gonna put up some nice silk tents if necessary, if somebody comes in and says, hey, we've got a family reunion, we got 150 people, but we really only need like 30 rooms, but can y'all cater it, can you do whatever? So we're setting up options to be able to do that, and then we do have meeting room space. So that's something that the city doesn't really have a lot of for meetings and hospitality. So we have two meeting rooms and a conference room. And the meeting rooms can be separated or they can be closed off. So you can have one big room about this size, a little bit bigger. That's probably maybe out to the hallway to the wall. Or you can separate it. We've got a wall that you can pull up and separate the rooms. So that gives people options for presentations and meetings and things of that nature. We're excited about having that opportunity.
That's great.
Can separate the attorneys. Sorry, that's two. That's Dave
Two?
made one. Dave made a joke already.
Okay,
You have all kinds of employment opportunities.
and next we have a discussion about the probation services location. I think we all received numerous complaints from the probation services office, or the tenants around them. And Butch has reached out to,
Mr. Prescott, who's the president of Southeastern, and shared the complaints with, nice to meet you in person. And I hope that David and other folks, we heard you loud and clear, and we will, we've opened that line of communication. If we need to all meet together to discuss what the issues are, we can certainly do that. We hope to carry this conversation on and make it better for everybody involved. It's just, we don't benefit from, the last probation service had a location that was isolated. This is not the case. And, so we know we've got something to work on here. If you've got, David, do you have anything you want to say, or?
I think I sent the email to everybody, so unless you need me to add anything to what I've added, then I don't know that I need to speak. But
Mr. Prescott, you had a couple of comments you made to me on the phone the other day.
Sure. Well, it's a pleasure to, I know some of you, Mr. Poole, and I've talked with Mr. Sanders on the phone. My name's Johnny Prescott. I'm the president of Southeast Corrections. Our probation company has been in business since 2005. We were very fortunate back in 2016 to begin working with you all here in Snellville. And as someone with about 30 years of experience in both state, public, and private probation, I wouldn't violate the rules of evidence, but I would say, to you all, go and talk to the judge or the clerk or the people involved, and you'll kind of hear the accurate picture of the kind of business that we are, the kind of service that we provide to Snellville. But I would like to say too that I regret that perhaps some of the tenants have had some trouble I told Mr. Sanders on the phone, that was the first I had heard of it. I called the property manager today, just to kind of try to get, a feel for what maybe they had heard, and they told me a similar story, that it was news to them. I'm looking forward to talking with the folks here. We want to be good neighbors. I understand the kind of business we have is, it's probably not, I'm not even gonna try for the word, but we all understand, it's not ideal. But, we want to do everything we can to try to alleviate any kind of issues there are. So I believe Melissa even noticed today, and we were talking with one of the officers outside, that it appears someone has now posted some sort of a towing sign on the property that, it was new to me anyway, I don't know if it's been there in the past, but I think that was one of the issues that had been raised in some of the emails about maybe some cars having been left overnight and things like that. So it sounds like there's a process being put into place to deal with that issue, and our employees are very aware of it. We try to take every effort we can to make sure that that's not going on and to do something about it when we can. And as far as the other issues, I read some emails about some litter and things like that. Our employees are professional people. I just don't believe that's a huge issue. If we see something, we pick it up, kind of thing. And as far as, some of the noise from automobiles or things like that, one thing I spoke with Melissa about is perhaps trying to get some sort of technology fix that maybe give us a look into the parking lot, through a webcam or something, where if our employees are inside and busy, perhaps they can, see if something like that is going on that we need to go try to address and help the situation. So all that to say, we want to do the best that we can to be a good neighbor and support the city. By the way, we have 7 offices across the state. We have 5 in Gwinnett County. And I'll be honest, this is the first time I've ever had to come to a city council meeting to address something like this. So it's not common in our business. We do a good job. We have a good reputation. We'll be working for the Gwinnett County Recorder's Court beginning in January. We were just awarded that contract. We've been working for the Gwinnett County State Court since 2010. Mr. Poole knows of our work over at the Lawrenceville City Court and a number of other municipalities around the area. So we're not looking to be a source of trouble for you all, and whatever we can do to help, that's our goal. Melissa, did you want to add anything to anything I said? Melissa is our program manager. She's here at least a couple of times during the week. She also travels to our office over in Monroe and in Loganville. So.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your being here, Mr.
Yes, ma'am.
Prescott. I guess if you can maybe schedule a meeting with Butch and one of the tenants that are having an issue and see if we can't work things out.
Yeah, because I'm not sure, where your other locations are, but this one in such close proximity to, medical professional offices, it's something that we need to work on. So
Understood.
we can do that.
Okay. Any questions or anything?
Anyone? Nope.
Well,
Again,
thank y'all for your time.
thank you
It's
so
good to
much
see
for being
you.
here.
And one other thing, I would like to come back sometime. I hate that this is the first time to really address you all, for something like this. Perhaps in the future, it'd be nice to come back and kind of tell you a little bit about exactly what we do for the city. I think y'all would be interested to hear that.
Sure.
Okay.
And I can tell you all from inception, they've done an excellent job probation services. So we appreciate that.
So we'll get this worked out and we'll all be good.
All right, thank you. Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you, you too. All right, and then the update on ongoing projects.
We have, as far as the town center, we had a very good visit from the Postal Service rep, the regional property manager that we've been working with for a couple of years. They had positive comments to say about the alternate location. We've sent them all the information to receive from them a letter of intent, which will move the process for their move and our transaction along. We also, town center related, on Wednesday, we have a meeting with several development reps that we're going to look at the development agreement, some of the more specific items in the development agreement, and some of the numbers that they put together that we need for our budget. So I would just say that's progressing. We continue to call the Postal Service every day. I talked to him today. He said he's working on the letter of intent. So, when we get that, we submit a $25,000 check and they start working on the building. So that's where we are.
And just to add to that, I spoke with Deborah Pryor at Woodall's office today. She called me inquiring about the progress and showing us that, yes, when Philip made his comments about senators contacting him, it was their office and that they would continue. So it would be a good thing to continue to reach out to them and support.
Yeah, and when Phil was here, he mentioned that, you know,
He's getting a little prodding now.
Yeah.
So. Market Library progress, a meeting set up tomorrow to talk about Eric is gonna meet with several county representatives, to talk about, the issues surrounding service and parking, and hopefully we get clear direction from the county folks there. We certainly need that. They know what we want. I hope they've discussed it internally and they're ready to buy in there. Marketing Snellville. We have, this is gonna be a topic on the retreat for what direction you really wanna head into. What do we need to hit hard there? Brian and I are going to meet on his future goals, meeting with department heads, setting things up. So we're kind of at the end of our goals that we set last year, and we need to start looking forward to next year. Town hall meetings, I really don't have anything. Probably January after we find out the direction of the 78-124 contractor and where they're going to be, and then have some town center announcements. Probably January may be a good time when everybody's back in school over the holidays, where we can get a good group out to a town hall meeting. The UDO with the final comp plan, final draft I'm going to call it, in hand. I think Jason, I put down a March 2019 date. I think we should be able to finish the UDO with tying it into the plan. It's worked well doing both at the same time. I think they've kind of fed off each other, but we need to be pushing on the UDO a little bit. Roundabout construction, had a good note from the county on their progress. You can see that the weather has caused some problems there at North and Fars. The contractor hopes to finish in the next couple weeks, but it is going to depend on the weather. So they're doing all they can. The county did mention they plan to begin advertising for bids in January 2019 for the second intersection at North and Ridgedale. That ties into our final acquisition schedule. So, and for even in the condition that it is in, I think the roundabout is working very well. I haven't gotten any more negative comments. I still get a couple of positive comments, but one other note on a separate project. State Route 124 and Wisteria Drive, the new signal there. They've done the survey and traffic signal warrant analysis. Have to do that on a state route. Consultant is currently working on completing intersection control evaluation that's also required by GDOT. So that project's moving along as far as adding designing the new signal.
Do you know anything about the Facebook comment that said that the funding was approved to widen 124?
That's a long-term project. The first phase of that to start preliminary design work has been approved.
So that's the funding that person was talking about,
Yes.
was just preliminary design?
Right.
Okay.
And that's probably from 78 to Reagan.
Okay.
That's the first phase.
Okay. But that's a 5 to 10 year project,
It
isn't it?
is.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay.
And depends on future funding. So, and I hope transit will be involved in that discussion too. Talk about widening 124. I think it will be. Business economic development's really tied to the build-out RFP, which I hope to have back in a couple of weeks. Melissa, you said we do have a draft, but there's some specifics to work out there. If you want to get a good feel for the space that's up there, it's cleaned out now. If you want to go through that upstairs and see that quarter of the building, when everything gets cleaned out, it's amazing how much space is in there.
Where did all that stuff go?
It is, we aren't really
It's in your
At liberty to talk
at
about
liberty
that?
to
Okay.
tell that. Just don't ask all those questions.
Top secret.
No, really, they're,
Moved over to the
the
police
Public
station?
Works guys did a great job, and Melissa kind of, she ramrodded that work, and a lot of it moved down to the other end.
Thanks.
But it took a lot of organization to get it there, so.
Here, you take.
But it's great space. It's gonna be good temporary space that we'll use permanently here for needs at City Hall. The SPLOST program, revenue is still strong. We have a presentation to give to the County Review Committee in the morning. We'll get a little report from Joel Black, so we'll follow up with a full update after that. As I said, higher education outreach really is tied into the item up above, and that work is continuing. Eric, any other updates on that we can give in that area? I think we're pretty much tied together there. Comp plan progress. I just have to thank these guys behind me, Jason and John and Austin. They've done a great job keeping Jacobs online, pushing things. I'll let you guys know that we got a very positive comment from our city attorney, who is familiar with the city to our north and their comp plan. And I've gotten other comments too, now that it's available publicly. So you guys have just done a great job in pushing that and getting it developed. It's like I told them, if you aren't from this area and you want to find out about Snellville and you read that plan, you get an awful good feeling about it. And then as you drill down, you get a lot of good, more specific information. So, job well done there for sure. And it's on the agenda for some action tonight. Ordinance development, a lot of items on the agenda for the planning session retreat. We'll address ordinance development there. We have, I'm not gonna call it the chicken ordinance, but,
Lions and chickens and bears.
we do have an urban agriculture
Urban agriculture.
ordinance, a draft there that we can all look at. SDS negotiations, we've had good discussions. There'll have to be some more among the cities first, but I really anticipate a positive process with the county. We get along well, and I don't expect that to change. Long-term planning, the December 15th retreat, we're ready to go at Tony's office Saturday morning at 8 o'clock for breakfast. We start at 8:30.
8 o'clock.
So,
Start at 8:30.
yeah, well, 8 for breakfast and start at 8:30. I'll have plenty of sustenance for y'all.
You have
You don't-
coffee,
Oh, yeah.
cream and sugar?
Yes, ma'am.
Plenty of coffee.
Okay, because last year we didn't have cream.
You know, some people complain about it.
That's I'm not a coffee
I'm
drinker, I
just
don't
planning
think
ahead.
about it.
Just covering all my bases.
Bring your own.
Knowing what to bring.
Yeah, anything specific?
Just, just the regular.
You know now that Peachtree Cafe is closed
I
on
do,
Saturday.
you know what? There's so
Well,
many
they don't
ways to
open
be.
till,
No, they just didn't open till like
they
9
didn't
or
open
10
till
o'clock.
or
later.
something.
We tried
Really?
to-
Yeah. Who does that on a Saturday? Come on.
Peachtree
But
Cafe.
the little barn will be open. We'll
Well, and
have
the
plenty.
Powell Edwards Cafe will be open as well.
There you go.
That's right.
There you go.
Okay, and then, the Gwinnett Bicentennial, thing.
Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday night. Who all's going from the city? You and Kathy, though, you got your
We got-
tickets through. Are you
Me and
going?
Brittany.
You and Brittany?
Yeah.
And then Christy,
Gretchen and I, no.
Yeah, Kurt's going on a stat ticket.
right? And I'm going, and Greg's going.
Oh,
I bought him a ticket today. And then, all right, so we'll, okay. But you're not going.
I'm not. I've
You're
got
not going.
a,
So I think we're good on the
I'm
table.
gonna be the
then.
dutiful spouse on Saturday night,
Okay.
a corporate party, so.
I just, I emailed with Pam Ledbetter today to make sure that we can all sit together. And, she just wanted me to send a final list of who was gonna be there so that she could make sure that everybody was sitting together. Do you have something to say?
No, I mean, I sent that, and I copied you guys. I sent that in with, I think, all our names. And I told Pam Ledbetter too, because she said she was, putting the tables together.
Yep.
extra wine. There's some extra wine.
And then just the dress again, because it has been a little confusing. They do call it a gala, but it is not black tie. It says dressy casual on the invitation. The way Pam Ledbetter describes it is if you are getting a little dressed up to go out to a friend's birthday party in town, that's what you can wear. So.
So we're gonna change.
Yeah, so
So we're gonna change.
Are we talking
Your
something
office
shiny and
in
sparkly?
the restroom
We're
or
gonna-
something,
yeah,
can't we?
we're gonna
Ladies'
Absolutely,
room?
yes, yes, we
Yeah.
got plenty of places.
First, we're thinking no.
Yeah, there's plenty of places to change.
Okay.
Okay,
Because then we can go right from the retreat over to there.
yeah,
Yeah,
because I don't want to be all dressed up all day.
No,
No.
me either. No.
no.
Okay.
Well, dress in period costume, you won't have to change.
Does anybody have anything else for the good of the group?
Thanks for that, Dave.
Then
Whatever I can
we
do to
will have our short executive session.
Short.
During the work session of the mayor and city council of Snellville, Georgia, Mayor Pro Tem Ben